Science Volume 43 in 2021 ya. Jadi judulnya adalah karakteristik refleksi siswa dari umpan balik video pada pelajaran lomba tinggi di physical education ya, analisis isi berdasarkan khususan fase gerakan dan tingkat keterampilan. Nanti Bapak Ibu akan melihat videonya langsung ya. Oke. Mr. Yomoda will present a topic entitled Educational Issues in Japan and the Inquiry of Student-Centered Learning in Physical Education. I think this topic is very related to our institution as well, and also Bapak Ibu who come from physical education. Ada yang Bapak Ibu yang dari pendidikan olahraga kesehatan? Banyak, sip. Memang betul ya sudah undang ke sini. Oke. Bapak Ibu, saya minta Bapak Ibu untuk tetap memperhatikan perhatiannya tercurah kepada Mr. Yomoda. Kita sama-sama belajar di sini ya. Dengarkan Mr. Yomoda baik-baik ya Bapak Ibu ya. Semoga Bapak Ibu bisa mendapatkan pelajaran dari apa yang akan ditayangkan Mr. Yomoda ya. Oke. Baik Bapak Ibu, juga kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu ada questions, if you have any questions, please write your questions. And we don't have much time, so maybe 2 or 3 person who has to ask questions only, yeah? Okay. Just like before. Okay, Bapak Ibu, without further ado, let us start our session with Professor Yomoda. Professor Yomoda, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for preparing this exciting seminar, and I'm very honored to be invited to this seminar. By the way, aren't you tired?
No. I'm fresh. I'm fresh.
Before studying, let's refresh your body and your mind. Easy. Put together your hands and stretch higher and twist. Okay, relax and rotate your shoulders opposite side. Deep breathing. Thank you very much. So let's start. I'm from Japan. You know, as you know, it's here. Yeah.
Not too far from here, sir.
About 7.5 hours from Jakarta. And my research topics are teaching in physical education and teacher development and sport education for children and youth. And I'm working at Nagoya Gakuin University and researching and educate students for future teacher training programs. In this section, I will present educational success and issues in Japan, and reform of the national curriculum, issues in health and physical education, and I show you some example of student-centered approaches in teaching physical education. This diagram shows the Japanese school system. Compulsory education is 9 years, primary school 6 years, and junior high school for 3 years. This would be similar to Indonesia, I think. And most of all students, 99% of students goes go to high school. And 57% of students go on to university or college. This table shows the ranking of score of PISA, OECD PISA academic performance international test in 81 countries. I don't know if the score of Indonesia is good with that.
Number 11. 11. 11.
Middle.
11.
So, as you can see, Japanese children are ranked high scores in international academic test. General test. So, what are the strengths of Japanese education? What are the strengths in Japanese education? The first one is teachers' commitment. Japanese teachers work the longest hours in the world. However, this is also a problem. This is also an issue, problem of teachers' overwork in recent years. Teachers work too many hours. Yeah. Overwork of teachers. So some teachers retired or change the job to another job. So teachers' commitment is important, but Japanese teachers are working too much. And the second one is national curriculum. We have
Baik Bapak Ibu, terima kasih banyak. Kita lanjutkan ya. Silakan, Mr. Yoman, you can continue. Sorry for the break.
Thank you. I'm back to the presentation. Okay, the second one is the national curriculum. We have in Japan rigorous improved implementation of the curriculum in schools across the country. The number of teaching hours for each grade in 1 year is strictly regulated for each subject. In 1 year, for example, everywhere physical education have 102 hours and so on. And we have very specific and strict learning contents in the curriculum, what students have to learn and what teachers have to teach pupils. And the third one is the culture of lesson study. Lesson study is the process of teachers' continuous collaborative research on teaching and ongoing process of mutual observation, evaluation, and reflective discussion for improving their classes. Japanese school teachers have this collaborative improvement of their lessons. So we have, I showed some strengths of the Japanese education, but there are some issues in Japanese education and Japanese children. For example, this video shows children's response to the question of I am satisfied with myself. Left side means I agree. I agree that I am satisfied with myself. And the right side means not agree. I don't agree that I am satisfied with myself. As you can see, Japanese children achieve higher academic scores, but Japanese children have low self-esteem and low level of satisfaction with themselves. And they have also low confidence about themselves. I have my own unique strengths. You can see that Japanese children have low confidence about themselves compared to other countries. Furthermore, I am able to clearly convey my thoughts to others, express their thoughts to others. Japanese children have low confidence to express their thoughts to others. And the last, motivated to engage in things even if I am not sure they will turn out okay. That means Japanese children have low confidence to low motivation to take on to challenge difficulties. And other studies have shown that Japanese children are afraid of making mistakes. We are afraid of making mistakes. In summary, with children's high academic achievement, Japanese children have low self-esteem, low confidence to convey thoughts to others, and low motivation to challenge difficulties. And this situation may be due to traditional Japanese education. For example, traditional Japanese education focuses on acquiring knowledge and compete for test scores with friends and correct mistakes. All-in-one instructions and teacher-centered instruction. Every time follow teacher's directions. These feature the traditional Japanese education. So the national curriculum, we call it course of study. It was revised at 2017 and 18. The national curriculum stated that it's important to solidly acquire basic and fundamental knowledge and skills to foster pupils' ability to think, make judgments, and express themselves that are necessary to solve problems using acquired knowledge and skills, not only acquiring knowledge and skills, and to cultivate an attitude of proactive learning, to develop pupils' individuality, and to encourage working together with diverse people. Therefore, recent teachers try to conduct student-centered learning or active learning. We call it active learning. That is proactive, interactive, and authentic learning to develop pupils' individuality, critical thinking, and social skills, and problem solving or project-based learning, which acquire knowledge and explore topics on their own initiative, or instruction tailored to each child's attributes. Not only one teaching. Okay, next part is about health and physical education and physical activity among children. Oh, I skipped this. So physical education and physical activity is important for children's development and growth. This is the International Physical Activity Assessment. Japan is one of the most favorable physical activity environments for children and youth. This is the result of the survey. Japan has the highest rating along with Denmark, Finland, and Slovenia. Unfortunately, Indonesia is placed here. And Japan is ranked prolonged life expectancy, active and healthy lifestyle contribute to long life expectancy. However, of course, we have some challenges among children about physical activity. We have some challenges. For example, Japanese children have low confidence in their physical well-being, health, and athletic ability, physical activity. They have low confidence of their health and physical ability. There is also a large gap between children with high and low exercise habits. Particularly the marked serious decline in physical activity among junior high school girls. This graph shows the amount of physical activity in 1 week, total amount of minutes in 1 week, boys and girls. So you can see the double teak. Oh. Here, right side is high physical activity level, and the left side is less or no physical activity in 1 week. So this is a gap. Some students participate in physical activity more and more, but some students have less or now no physical activity in 1 week. So 25% of girls in junior high school participate less than 60 minutes of physical activity in 1 week. So this is a serious problem for children's physical activity. Okay. I saw. This may be due to the traditional school physical education that has focused on skill acquisition and with teacher center or strict teacher directions and holistic instructions. Let's see the example of the thus. Current approaches emphasize students' proactive, autonomous, and collaborative learning, and foster critical thinking, problem solving, and as well as valuing inclusion and diversity. They are second grade, 30 years old. They observe using iPads, gymnastics class, and give advice to two friends. How can we stand up without bending our knees? So they found the position of the hand is important. In traditional instruction, teachers instruct, order, and control students, and decide the routine of the skills, and evaluate student skills. On the other hand, current student-centered approaches, students observe and give advices each other, discuss how to improve their performance, and develop their own routine for skill presentation, and judge the performance of friends with difficulty and execution score. So let's see another example. Primary 5th grade. They are analyzing variable game performance. analyzing the football game performance and where their team hit the attack or lose point. They are analyzing and discussing their performance. And they are discussing strategies based on the analysis of the game. So in this ball game lessons, students share roles and they analyze the game and discuss strategy, develop practice plan for their own team, and modify the game rules to guarantee everyone can participate and enjoy. In traditional instructions, teachers decide these all aspects of lessons. In traditional, teachers decide this, but still student-centered approach. Students participate in the decision of their classes. This may be the last one. Primary 4th grade, 9 years old, students create their own exercise routine and present and share their group's exercise ideas. They are trying how to move, how to exercise in E-class. Their team's original exercise. They are trying to make new way of exercise. And they are having fun. So traditional instructions, decide how to move students. Teachers decide how to move students and order 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But students active engagement, students develop movement routines, present and share their ideas, and choose what kind of exercise they practice. They can choose. Students can choose what they try. So teacher's role is not control students, not order, but facilitate students' creativity and psychological support and risk management. I skip this one. In conclusion, this is my conclusion. Japanese education has been successful in acquiring fundamental knowledge and motor skills. However, there is a growing necessity to transition towards more productive, interactive, in-depth, and student-centered learning approaches. Such innovation is crucial to empower students to become individuals who can learn, make decisions, and tackle complex and no-answered issues independently in the rapidly changing modern society. This man. Thank you. Terima kasih. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigato.
Okay, thank you. It's a very interesting presentation, Profesor Yamoda. Bapak Ibu, ada yang mau bertanya?
Ada.
Dari tengah, ini pertama kali di Ibu nih ya. Oke, silakan Ibu bertanya. Bisa diberikan mic-nya? Ya, langsung saja ya Mbak di bab kuning. Ada satu lagi, ada yang mau bertanya? Itu semangat sekali Ibu yang di ujung itu ya. Kita dua dulu, nanti kalau ada waktu kita tambah ya. Oke, silakan Ibu.
Baik, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh semuanya.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yang saya hormati Bapak Profesor, ini maaf saya memakai bahasa ibu saya, bahasa Indonesia. Walaupun saya mengerti bahasa asing sedikit-sedikit, tapi kayaknya lebih lancar dari bahasa ibu.
Ya, silakan.
Dari paparan Profesor tadi itu sangat menarik ya, di mana anak-anak beraktivitas kegiatan fisik. Mungkin ini terkait atau tidak terkait, nanti dilihat dari apa yang saya sampaikan, bahwa saya sangat tertarik sebenarnya pendidikan di Jepang itu pendidikan karakter yang dibangun sejak dini. Sebelumnya perkenalkan diri dulu, saya Eva Susanti dari Aceh. Saya ini guru BK. Jadi mungkin pertanyaannya lebih menjurus kepada hal-hal berkaitan dengan pembangunan karakter. Jadi sebenarnya ada kaitannya. Ketika anak-anak usia dini itu dibangun karakter disiplinnya, seperti yang kita lihat di media sosial, ya bagaimana anak-anak usia dini itu diajarkan tata tertib, antri dan sebagainya. Mungkin itu bisa berkaitan sekali ketika mereka memasuki usia sekolah yang lebih tinggi lagi. Tadi kalau kita kaitkan dengan pelajaran fisik, olahraga, olah fisik, olah rasa karsa, akan tumbuh pribadi-pribadi yang sportif dalam kegiatan-kegiatan berbau fisik misalnya. Kalau ketika mereka saling kompetisi, tidak ada yang misalnya kalau kita tuh saling tendang, saling itu, tapi nampak di situ mereka malah membantu temannya jika jatuh, kemudian memberikan motivasi dan sebagainya. Nah, pertanyaan saya adalah langsung nih dari pemateri dari Jepang ke Indonesia nih kan, kita mau tahu bagaimana mereka mendidik karakter baik tadi sejak usia dini sehingga terbangun rasa sportifnya, dan itu kemudian ditampilkan oleh mereka-mereka yang sudah dewasa, bagaimana mereka bersikap baik juga dalam kehidupannya. Saya pikir itu saja. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So, Professor Yamoda, the question is, how is Japanese train the character of the students from the very beginning, so that they can, perform better when they are adults, like discipline, like queuing, things like that.
Character, behavior, moral education.
Yeah, the character.
It's not my specialty of the area, but we have in elementary school we have moral education classes in elementary school and junior school. In moral education classes, students discuss what is the good behavior and what is how to collaborate on the honesty honesty. And classroom teachers take a responsibility a lot in these character education, moral education.
Moral education. So let me translate it first. Bapak Ibu itu dilihat dari data itu dari tabel ya. Kita baca dari tabel. Di situ di moral education ia punya 34 jam per tahun. Moral education itu dimasukkan dalam kurikulumnya. Nah, ini apa namanya? Bagaimana mereka belajar kejujuran, misalnya ya, itu ada pada moral education dan guru bertanggung jawab kepada siswanya bagaimana mendidik siswanya untuk menjadi orang yang jujur. Mr. Nirmala, is there any actions or maybe practice that the students have to follow that they become an honest human being from the very beginning? Is there any practices? Yeah, practices for honesty, for as a habit later on. Do you have any experience from your childhood experience? How your teacher teach you to be honest? To be an honest person. Do you have any experience? What did your teacher do to you? I can tell you.
Japanese society is has the feature of behave as everyone do. Behave as same as everyone. Muslim society, actually society. So this goes. Students are expected to behave like another. So teachers expect students
Bapak Ibu, jadi yang intinya ya itu orang Jepang itu punya kultur sendiri, punya kultur di mana memang dari awalnya seperti itu. Seperti orang Indonesia kan gotong royong, misalnya smile, misalnya kita kalau ketemu orang. Nah itu seperti itu. Memang pembentukan dari lahirnya orang Jepang itu sudah seperti itu. Jadi itu memang ini bukan spesial untuk beliau untuk karakter, tapi beliau mempunyai apa yang sudah ada di sini. Oke. The second person, please.
Yes. Konnichiwa sensei. Atashi wa Rahmawati desu. Saya dari BGP Kalsel. I will try in English, please, if you don't mind. Okay. The first questions. I've been, hearing, listening carefully about your presentations from traditional curriculum and into the revised. How long Japan's nationals it takes? How long to make revise until the implementation? That's the first questions. And then the second one. There's a lot because it's only two. Okay. Okay, only one. Just one, two. Okay. And the second one is about the activity that that teacher PE held in the classrooms. Is it possible to the teacher non-physical activity to hold the activity like physical activity? Because I have read so many journals regarding to activity and to cognitive capability, because the capability of academic cognitive is
strong, engaged to literacy and numerations. So, okay. And the question is it possible the teacher non-physical ability engage the class or doing some practices during the classroom? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ibu Rahmawati. Mr. Yomoda, the first question is
how long traditional curriculum? You said that it starts from 2017, is it? 2017 and 2019. So how long is Japan takes from the previous curriculum to this curriculum, the changing? Ini kayaknya ingin ke kurikulum kita ya?
In Japan, almost every 10 years we have revised national curriculum. Almost 10 years.
Jadi setiap 10 tahun itu ada revisi, ya, jadi direview lagi kurikulumnya. The second question is it possible that the teacher from non-PE to practice physical education for the class? Yeah. For example, math teachers can they practice physical education in their class during the class? Yeah,
I can tell you about how to say that. Primary school teachers teach all subject areas. And
maybe no. The answer is maybe no. Maybe for energizer only, yeah. Icebreaker or energizer. So that's the answer from Yomoda. Okay, Bapak Ibu, karena keterbatasan waktu, maka sampai di sini dulu presentasi dari Mr. Yomoda. Saya ada beberapa sedikit highlights dari apa yang sudah Profesor Yomoda berikan, bahwa di Jepang pun Bapak Ibu, mereka punya kelebihan, artinya indeksnya mereka itu literasinya tinggi, kemudian fisikalnya itu tinggi juga, tapi mereka punya kelemahan. Kelemahannya di mana? Di self esteemnya yang rendah, kemudian low motivation juga rendah, gitu ya. Nah itu mereka mereview kurikulumnya ke kurikulum yang 2017 tadi, di mana seperti kita ada 4C. Kalau kita lihat di situ 4C ya Bapak Ibu ya. Critical thinking, collaboration, communication, problem solving, creativity. Ya, di situ sudah ter-engage semua ya Bapak Ibu ya. Jadi walaupun mereka juga negara yang maju, tapi ada juga kelemahan-kelemahannya, makanya mereka merevisi kurikulumnya. Dan Pak Yomoda ini menghubungkan antara perubahan kurikulum itu ke kurikulum PI-nya, seperti itu, ya, Bapak Ibu. Sebenarnya banyak yang highlights-nya, tapi Bapak Ibu sampai di sini dulu perjumpaan kita. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And Mr. Yomoda, thank you very much for this participation. And hopefully you enjoy your stay here, and hopefully that you can enjoy our next seminar. Okay, thank you Bapak Ibu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Matur suwun, terima kasih. mau dipindahin lagi ya? Iya ya?
Baik, Bapak Ibu masih semangat?
Masih.
BGP Banten? Masih ada jeda mikir dulu, mungkin karena bukan dari BGP Banten ya. Saya ulang, BGP Banten? Tangannya dong, tangannya. Oke, pakai tangan yang semangat ya. BGP Banten? Oke. Guru Indonesia, pakai bahasa Jepang ya. Guru Indonesia, Banzai. Banzai.
Oke.
Banzai.
Tangannya, kalau jawara satu, kalau Banzai, oke. Guru Indonesia, oke, terima kasih.
Banzai.
Luar biasa masih semangat, padahal kita dari pagi ya Bapak Ibu. Tahun depan mau lagi ini acara kayak gini. Catat ya, catat. Nanti kita sampaikan pada
Diundang orang yang sama.
ya. Oke, baik. Bapak Ibu, ini sesi terakhir, mudah-mudahan tidak mengurangi semangat Bapak Ibu ya untuk mengikuti seminar hari ini. Saya perkenalkan diri dulu boleh? Boleh. Minasan. Konnichiwa. Hajimemashite, watashi wa Endang desu.
Masako.
Salam kenal, saya Endang ya. Saya dari BGP Banten bersama dengan Bu Indri, Bu Virgo, Bu Pita ya. Untuk kali ini saya akan menemani Sensei ya. Kalau bahasa Jepang itu, kalau untuk orang Jepang bukan bahasa Jepang ya. Kalau untuk orang Jepang ketika menyebut nama diri itu biasanya dengan myoji atau nama keluarga. Seperti tadi Kenji Yomoda, jangan Profesor Kenji, sebetulnya itu nama kecil. Harusnya Profesor Yomoda ya. Kemudian Shinohara Aki bukan disebut dengan Aki Sensei tapi
Aki.
Shinohara Sensei. Ya, Bapak Ibu, Shinohara Sensei ini sekarang bekerja di The Japan Foundation tapi cabangnya di Jakarta. Karena Japan Foundation sendiri itu lokasi senternya adalah di Urawa, Tokyo dan memiliki beberapa perwakilan di berbagai negara. Ya alhamdulillah di Indonesia sejak beberapa tahun lalu ya itu kita disupport untuk pembelajaran bahasa Jepang oleh Japan Foundation. Kalau dulu kan BGP Banten salah satunya adalah Expem Pateka Bahasa dan kita sudah menjalin kerjasama. Di sini ada guru bahasa Jepang yang sudah familiar barangkali ya dengan Japan Foundation dan Pateka Bahasa. Siapa coba ayo berdiri? Satu, dua, tiga, bertiga ya. Terima kasih. Baik, Bapak Ibu, Shinohara Sensei kali ini akan membahas tentang sebetulnya ada kesamaan dengan yang dari China ya. Kalau China kan membahas tentang HSK, tapi kalau untuk sekarang Shinohara Sensei akan membahas tentang JF standar ya. Jadi JF standar itu adalah satu panduan untuk mengukur kemampuan berbahasa Jepang yang diadopsi oleh The Japan Foundation dari CFR. Untuk lebih dalamnya nanti akan dibahas oleh Sensei. Namun sebelumnya saya akan menyampaikan tentang siapa Shinohara Sensei ya. Latar belakangnya adalah Sensei di Japan Foundation ini sebagai Japanese Language Senior Specialist ya. Dan kalau dilihat dari rekam jejak pendidikannya, Sensei mengikuti perkuliahan di 3 kampus yang ternama, papan atas ya. Satu Bunkyo, yang kedua Waseda. Waseda itu kampus swasta tapi yang papan atas. Dan yang terakhir adalah saya terbalik, Tsukuba yang kedua ya Sensei ya. Ya, Bunkyo, Tsukuba dan Waseda. Yamada Sensei juga dari Tsukuba. Jadi kedua Sensei ini luar biasa, tidak sembarang orang bisa masuk Tsukuba University. Dan kita beruntung ya mendapatkan narasumber yang memang cukup mumpuni di bidangnya. Untuk publikasi sendiri, Sensei banyak menerbitkan publikasi ilmiah atau karya ilmiah terkait dengan evaluasi, ya,
Shinohara Aki dari Jepang Foundation Jakarta. Hari ini saya akan berbicara tentang James Standard. This is all that I know in Indonesian language. Is it okay to speak English?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about James Standard for Japanese language education. The James Standard for Japanese language education, we call it JF Standard because it's kind of long term. It's a framework to consider course design, lesson design, and evaluation. It was developed by the Japan Foundation in 2010 based on the concept of CEFR. Do you know CEFR?
Yeah.
CEFR is common framework, common European framework of reference for languages. It was established by the Council of Europe in 2001, and it is now used as a guideline for foreign language education all around Europe or maybe in the world. So today I am going to introduce the philosophy of James Standard and tools of it, and discuss how we can apply James Standard to the curriculum. Okay, so I start with the philosophy of James Standard. The background for the James Standard is the tradition of foreign language education. Until the 1970s, learners learned foreign languages to acquire linguistic skill, linguistic knowledge. But from the 1970s, they learned how to use the linguistic knowledge. And from the 1980s, they focus more on communication-oriented studying way. And now, in the 21st century, we, the Japan Foundation, focus for the mutual understanding because we are now living in a global society where more and more people come into contact with other cultures as part of their personal and professional lives. For example, with the development of the technology, we can easily communicate with people from the other countries. Also, we can get Japanese anime or manga through the internet, you know. For this reason, we established James Standard based on the philosophy or concept of Japanese language for mutual understanding. In 21st century, we need to understand each other. It is important that you understand the other person. And also it is important that you help the other person understand you. This is the mutual understanding. Okay, in order to deepen the mutual understanding through cross-cultural language communication, we thought that two competencies are needed. The first one is competencies in accomplishing tasks, which is the ability to use language to complete specific tasks. The other one is competencies in intercultural understanding, which is the ability to understand and respect one's own and the other people's cultures. To cultivate these two competencies, the JF Standard has been established. Okay, now I am introducing the tools of James Standard. the tools of the JF standard is the JF standard tree and 6 levels and can-do and portfolio. The first one is the JF standard tree. It looks like sakura tree, Japanese traditional tree.
Pink sakura, pink tree.
In the tree, there are 2 parts. The part where the branches spread out and produce flowers. This part shows communicative language activities, like listening or speaking or writing. And this part, the root part, shows communicative language competencies, which is like grammar or vocabulary or language skill. Okay, if you make a presentation like I am doing right now, what kind of knowledge do you need? You might need grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Also, you need sociolinguistic skill, like how formal you speak. Or you might need discourse skill, like how you start the presentation, or continue presentation, or end it. Okay. You use these competencies and you can make a presentation. This is the image. You have the knowledge in your head and you make something, reading or speaking or make a presentation. You're using the knowledge in your head. This is like this. Okay, this is the level. In the JF standard, we have 6 levels from A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Traditionally, in language education, levels has been based on how much grammar or how much vocabulary you learned. However, in the JF standard, the levels based on what kind of tasks you can do. We call it can-do. So can-do is a sentence beginning with can. And it describes ability, what kind of task you can accomplish using Japanese language. Can-do has 6 levels from A1 to C2. Okay, we usually represent the image of can-do and levels with this slope picture. Because as you continue to study, the can-do become more and more difficult. And also, as you continue to study, the number of can-do increases. It's like you are running up the hill. This is the level. Okay, there are a few examples of can-dos. At the A1 level, the lowest level, you can use only expressions you know, like arigato, thank you, something like that. And at the level A2, the next level, you can make short, simple terms by yourself. And also you can say reasons. The next level, B1, you can talk about your recent news. Or also you can express your feelings in this level. Okay. So you gradually can become able to more and more things and become able to do more and more difficult things like this. Okay, the last one is portfolio. Have you ever had a portfolio, or have you ever used it in the class?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Portfolio is a kind of a file that students preserve their materials. It's not just to keep it or save it. They reflect something that they did in the file. Students can put these things like assessment sheet or reflection on lessons, cultural experiences, accomplishments they made, or maybe recordings of speeches or presentation if they made it. If students use portfolio, they can improve their competence in accomplishing tasks and competence in intercultural understanding. And they can improve their autonomous learning ability and motivation toward learning. And they can share their learning processes and successes with teachers, of course, or classmates, and even with their family. So, how can we use this JEP standard in our curriculum? Applying the JEP standard to the curriculum, that means teacher teach foreign languages for mutual understanding. And teacher cultivate competencies in accomplishing tasks and competencies in intercultural understanding. To cultivate competencies in accomplishing tasks, teachers should increase what students can do. So you can design curriculum using can do. For example, how many can do's students will learn in a semester or in a year, or what kind of can do they learn in the semester. Or teachers set objective of the lesson with can do. And also teacher can evaluate students' learning with can do. So here is the objective of the lesson. Traditionally, teachers have set the objective of lessons as grammar or vocabulary. Like today's lesson, you learn this vocabulary, or today we learn this grammar. But in this way, students don't know what they can do or what they become to able to do. In the JEP standard, teachers set the objective of the class with can do. For example, today's can do is can order food and drinks at the restaurant. In that case, students clearly know what they can do, what they want to do. So this is the JEP standard. Okay, here is how the students learn languages. Traditionally, they first learn a lot of grammar and vocabularies. After they learned a bunch of vocabulary and grammar, they think, oh, what can I do? Maybe I can order at the restaurant. Maybe I can do this. But in JEP standard, there is can do first. For example, the student thinks, oh, I want to be able to order at the restaurant. So to do this, students learn vocabulary and grammar in order to make an order at the restaurant. Or maybe they listen to the conversation at the restaurant, or they practice speaking in the restaurant. After that, they can do. They can order at the restaurant. This is the James standard. So, how teachers design lessons with can do? First of all, set the objective of the lesson with can do. This is the most important. For example, today's objective of the class is can order food at the restaurant. The next, teachers figure out what students need to learn or what students need to practice. In this case, maybe students should learn vocabulary that they need at the restaurant, like coffee, tea, ramen, udon, something like that. Or grammar, to order something at the restaurant. Maybe, please give me ramen kudasai, something like that. And expressions too, for example, how to count food and drinks. 1 ramen, 2 ramen, 1つ、2つ、3つ. Then, what do they need to practice? Maybe conversation at the restaurant. So this is the design of James Standard. Or also, you can use this James Standard tree to design lessons. Once you have set the objective of the lesson, for example, order something at the restaurant, you can look at the route and think about what knowledge students need to achieve the objective. Maybe this grammar, this vocabulary, and this skill. Okay. Another important thing for lesson design is that objective of the class and class activity and evaluation is consistent based on can-do. If the can-do is to order at the restaurant, then the class activity is to learn the knowledge needed to order at the restaurant, then and students should be and evaluation. Students should be evaluated with can-do. So some teachers may give a written test, but the objective is not the writing or grammar. It is to order at the restaurant. So maybe at the evaluation, teachers make students make conversations, or you can do role play. Evaluation can also be done with using can-do. After seeing the student's performance, teachers can evaluate how well the can-do was done. We usually use this stars. If students did it well, you can give 3 stars to students. If they did it, they just did it, they can get 2 stars. Or when they did it, but you think they could do it better, then just 1 star, something like this. Okay, if they use JEP standard in curriculum, you can focus on actual communication. And it is easy for students to image what they can do. And also you can increase students' motivation to learn, because students can see what they can do. Okay, to cultivate competencies in intercultural understanding, teachers should make students aware of culture. You can teach language and culture together in the class, because culture is always a part of learning languages, and it is not separate from the languages. You can use portfolio in class, and students will record their cultural experiences. In these days, culture is in our daily life, all around here. There are Japanese restaurants anywhere in this country, or Japanese products at stores. Also, they can experience various cultures through the internet, so students can write down about cultures in portfolio. Okay, once again, the JEP standard has been developed for Japanese language for mutual understanding. And these 2 competencies are needed for that. Okay, this is all about JEP standard today. And if you are interested in JEP standard and want to learn more, we have guidebook for users. You can download it for free. We have English version and Indonesian version. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Bapak Ibu sudah menyimak dengan penuh perhatian, terlihat sekali ya. Belum diminta bertanya udah angkat tangan, nanti dulu ya. Nampaknya tidak sabar. Oke, baik Bapak Ibu, ada yang mau memberikan pertanyaan pada Sensei? Oke, 1. Ada lagi? Satu dulu ya. Silakan Bu, maju. Ya. Sensei di depan aja, Bu siapa? Kebiasaan kalau manggil guru panggilannya Sensei, jadi saya manggil semua itu Sensei, ya. Kita sama-sama Sensei, ya.
Oke, Sensei, konnichiwa. Hajimemashite, Bangka Talkshow BGP から来たカニサと申します。よろしくお願いいたします。先ほどのプレゼンテーションはとても興味深い係なんですけれども、ちょっと質問よろしいでしょうか。JLPT とか日本語能力試験に比べたら、JEP スタンダードはどのような長所があるのでしょうか。特にインドネシアに実現をするためにどのような長所があるのでしょうか。皆さん教えていただいてありがとうございます。失礼します。よろしくお願いします。
Ya, terima kasih Bu Kani dari BGP mana Bu? Ya, beri aplaus untuk BGP Bapak. Oke, Sensei. Sensei, terima kasih Mas.
Did you understand the question, everyone? Okay. Well, the question was, JEP standard, how the JEP standard is different from JLPT. JLPT is a Japanese language test. You know JLPT.
levelnya in
Ya,
Japan?
saya bantu pakai bahasa Indonesia. Oke, jadi dalam pembelajaran bahasa Jepang untuk mengukur keterampilan berbahasa bukan hanya dengan JF standar, karena JF standar ini termasuk baru ya. Yang sebelumnya pakai istilahnya JLPT yang benar-benar sama dengan apa yang dilakukan oleh Cina yang HSK. Bahasa Jerman, di sini ada guru bahasa Jerman? Tidak ada. Bahasa Perancis? Tidak ada juga ya. Biasanya masing-masing bahasa itu punya satu alat tes untuk mengukur. Kalau dulu namanya JLPT. Ya, jadi bukannya menanyakan apa hubungannya dengan JLPT dan apa sisi lebihnya dari Kendo itu seperti apa serta implementasinya dalam kurikulum seperti apa. Gitu ya. Oke, Sensei.
Okay, thank you for the good question. If you studied Japanese language for JLPT, for the test, that means you study only this part, grammars, vocabulary, and knowledge. But JF Standard focused on that part, flower part, what you can do, what you can read, how you can talk with somebody. So this is not for the test, but we focus this part, and to do this, you need to learn this way. Is it okay?
Bahasa Inggris Sensei nampaknya ini ya, mudah ya? Atau perlu dijelaskan kembali? Sudah oke ya? Mantap, guru-gurunya hebat nih. Oke, Sensei. Berikutnya ada lagi. Sekarang bapak-bapak ya. Silakan Pak.
Konnichiwa. はじめまして。ベベゲマガサの代表トピックと申します。よろしくお願いします。先生、さっきは先生はジェフスタンダーのことを話しました。今、高校生はを決めました。ターゲットは、卒業したら、itu確かに。ターゲットはジェフスタンダーのはターゲットは確かに。英語です。英語ですね。高校生は今のスタンダードは
そうですね。カリキュラムで。
はい、カリキュラムで英語です。それで2年間学びました。2年生から3年生まで。それ時間についてそれは足りますか？時間について先生はどうですか？
Baik, terima kasih. Sekarang dari BBDP Sulawesi Selatan ya Pak Taufik. Ya, Bapak Ibu paham apa yang ditanyakan Pak Taufik? Saya pikir bisa pakai telepati gitu.
Paham Ibu?
Ya, jadi ini sebetulnya bisa jadi pertanyaan untuk guru, khususnya ya bahasa Jepang seluruh Indonesia. Karena di kurikulum itu, ya sekarang ada satu statement bahwa untuk bahasa Jepang yang sekarang itu diajarkan bukan lagi di kelas 1 SMA, tapi di kelas 2 dan 3 saja. Sementara yang harus dicapai adalah JF standar A2. Tadi Pak Taufik ngomongnya E2, jadi sensenya bingung karena bahasa Jepang, tapi banyak tuh code switch ya. Ya. Nah, yang ditanyakan oleh Pak Taufik dengan waktu yang mepet, apakah memang bisa tercapai proficiency A2 bagi siswa kita? Sementara kan dikurangi waktunya bukan dari kelas 1, ya. Nah, Pak Taufik minta pendapat dari Sensei. Sensei, do desu ka? Itu artinya Sensei pendapatnya seperti apa? Ya, oke, dozo.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for the
Arigatou.
question. teachers for. Start from A1 level and A2 level. The A2 level is too wide, you know. Here is all A2, and to this is A2. Very wide. I think it's difficult to finish A2, but it's not too difficult to enter A2 level. So maybe high school students can be A2 level, like here, this level. Now I am studying Indonesian language. I'm still A1 level, but if I study hard, maybe I can get into A2 level easily. But it's very hard to finish A1 level, to go to B1 level, you know. So if students can talk about their families, like my father, I have six families. I have my father and mother, and like this. It's already A1, A2 level around here. Okay, Taufik, gimana? Esensinya berarti ini ya, Pak Taufik, bahwa A2 itu kan agak lebar gitu ya.